Welcome inside. Hey, hey, shalom, YouTube live. Wait for you guys to tune in. Got an exciting topic tonight. Yes, we don't have too much of zooming too much. If anybody's sitting on the end, yeah. Okay. Shalom, shalom. Yes, we'll be live with you shortly for tonight's program of Truth Seekers. We'll share the link. You can find the link. Yeah, I have the link here. You send it? I'm selecting my contacts. Account, my status. So, right.
Happy Sabbath.
Just type in the chat if you can hear us clearly. Mm. Yes, good night, good night. We are on YouTube live and we're not on the radio live yet. Stay tuned. Shalom, shalom, Sister Lisa. Shabbat shalom. All right, now get ready. Start. Welcome everyone. Yeah. All right. Let's start on the radio. Open the radio mic. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to True Seekers, presented by Hallelujah Ambassador, sponsored by Carl Joe. And I'm your host, Paul Wilson, in the studio with Lenworth Wilson Sr. and Amalia.
Shabbat Shalom.
Happy Sabbath, everyone.
As we seek to uncover and follow truth over tradition. For Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So before we get started for tonight's program, we're gonna have an opening prayer. Hello, Wilson. Wanna open some prayer?
Let's pray. Eternal Father, here we are in your presence one more time with hearts of gratitude and of praise. We give you thanks for your son, Yahushua Mashiach, in whose name we come to you tonight, Father. Thanking you for sending him to redeem us from the bondage of sin. And that we can be here tonight as we continue in our search for truth. I want to thank you for life, thank you for strength, thank you for your guidance and your protection. And we pray that as we come together tonight, searching for your truth, that your set-apart spirit will be present with us to open our minds as you reveal your truth to us. I pray, Heavenly Father, that you prepare our hearts and the hearts of our listeners and viewers, that as your truth goes forth, that we will all be willing to follow according to your directions. Bless us, guide us through these discussions, I pray, in Yahushua's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to all those who are listening on the radio. You can tune into our YouTube page, Hallelujah Ambassadors YouTube page. We are also live on YouTube, where you can comment in the chat and contribute to the conversation. And so, and we welcome you listening on the radio as well. Just and hopefully that this program will be edifying and enlightening to you as we seek for the truth over tradition as truth seekers. So, in order to begin the program, we always do highlights, lowlights, whether it is individually, locally, internationally, anything that you want to highlight from the week or the lowlights from the week.
I don't know whether it's highlight or low light, but there's so much happening this week. Of course, I lost a friend, a neighbor, and had to attend the funeral on Monday. And, it just, every time I go to a funeral, it just reminds me that life is short and uncertain. But we don't have to fear death, especially, but more so that we have that assurance, that confidence and hope of the resurrection. And so as we live each day, we should live our lives in such a way that if death should come now, we'll have that assurance that when the trumpet shall sound, we too will have part in the first resurrection. Otherwise, when Yahushua comes, we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye and to be caught up to meet him and to reign with him eternally. That was one. The other thing that got my attention this week is some statement that the President of the United States made concerning the files about UFOs. unidentified flying objects or flying saucers, whatever we know them as. And, there's so much talk about pastors being um, invited to talk about it and to update their congregations as to what to expect with these UFOs. Of lately, more and more information been coming out about these aliens that are visiting Earth and having communication with different individuals. And to see it getting more place in the media, maybe it's
More
a
traction.
distraction from the war that is going on and all of that. But it's interesting to see what goes on, where they go with this. Yes, because we were warned in the scriptures that the devil is able to transform himself into an angel of light. So if they come with miracles and doing great wonders, we just have to be aware of that. We were warned that these things would happen, and know who are the true children of light, who we should follow. Yes, that's it
Okay.
for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
Thank
Um, my week was, I had a really good week. This week, how would I say it? God was showing me a lot of, him literally showing up and showing out for me, and me coming to the realization that, sometimes when you say you give something to God, it doesn't literally mean, how I would say, because there's a situation, and I pray about it, and I just was fed up. Basically, I had reached, and I was like, you know what, listen, God, I give it to you. Whatever happened, it is what it is. I done. I give it to you. So then, because of that, I was just ready to just be like, have the mindset that, okay, if this happened, okay, that. But then that's kind of like almost settling. So I already reached that mindset basically, and I was already ready to go and sit down and have that conversation as like, if that's what, okay,
it is what it
yeah,
is.
And so when I tell you my day for the past week is like this, not getting a chance, this meeting just not getting a chance to happen, just for it to happen today, not by even me, it end up happening. And when I tell you what I was not even expecting, thinking could be possible, just fall in my plate. And it was like, this is what's going to happen. This is what you're going to get. Yeah. And I was just like, the whole time in my head, I was like, oh, it's like God was like, you're not going to get a chance to go and settle. Like he was just like holding me back. And like literally the whole of today, I was just like, wow.
Amazed of how God works.
Yeah, and I was just happy, like on cloud nine the whole day. But like,
Hallelujah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that was definitely the highlight of my week. So yeah,
He works in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
His timing is impeccable.
and it just be funny because like the whole week is like, bruh, like my time, I ain't getting no time. I need to just get this over with so I could move on. And you used to starting to get aggravated.
Anxious. Yeah. Yeah. But we give you thanks.
Yeah.
Shalom. Well, another highlight of my week and Daddy's week is that this week my mother celebrated birthday. So
Oh, no.
happy birthday to Sister Jen, mommy.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And so we give you thanks for spending her life so far and pray that she continue to be in good health and happiness, joy, follow her, peace always. Follow her. So we'll jump straight into tonight's topic. As you can see in the topic in the headline, it is should believers or Christian believers celebrate Mother's Day. You know, we are in the month of May, and in this island that have two countries. You have the Dutch side celebrates Mother's Day on the second Sunday of May, and the French side celebrated on the
Last.
last Sunday of May. So we're going into this topic to see, should we as believers celebrate Mother's Day? Folks in the chat, you can chime in, give us your thoughts, give us your answers, what you think, and let's get into it. Truth over tradition. That's what we're checking. So know the tradition is everybody celebrating Mother's Day. So now we're gonna try to find out the truth and see what we need to do as believers. All right. So what is Mother's Day? Who wants to start off with that?
In simple terms.
Yeah.
This is not no pulled up definition. This is just from the top of my head.
Okay. Let me put it this way. Before going into this research and to
because
get
that's
into
why
this topic, right?
I know I'm just telling you from the
What
top
is
of my
Mother's
head.
Day to you?
To me, Mother's Day
Yeah.
is just a day to honor mothers in general, but more
Mhm.
specifically
Your
your
own mother.
mother. Yes. And or if you have someone who is like a mother figure to you, that's
Yeah.
for me, that's what I also honor those people who has played that role in my life. I show them that, hey, I appreciate you and I'm thankful for what you did. That's it.
Yes, listen.
Well, let me start off by saying mothers are one of the finest of Yah's creation, bringing forth life,
Yes.
continuing the regeneration of life. Without mothers, God would have to keep creating other human beings. But from the time He created Eve and she became a mother, and the process of reproduction continues, and that put mothers in a very special position and special place in my heart. Just to think about my mother,
Yeah.
I grew with my mother and my father, and loving both of them, but there was a special love, a more tender love for my mother. Yes. And then for my wife, being a mother also calls for that special attention, special care of her, especially in that time of motherhood when she's in that process of the pregnancy to the bringing up of the babies. Yes, that calls for so much more attention and special care of a mother. So, like the Bible tells us, honor your mother and your father. And it always put in
The mother first.
the mother first. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may belong upon the land. Okay, but yes, mothers really have that special place in our lives. But when you talk about Mother's Day, then it's cause questions as to what is this, why we would put one day aside, especially to honor mother, when, as far as I'm concerned, we should be honoring our mothers every day. According to the scripture, we should honor our parents every day in the Lord, it says, in Yahuwah, as long as they are giving you the right instructions and they're setting the right examples, then we should honor them, not just one day for the year. So that is where I have questions about whether or not believers should partake in this highlighted one day of the year celebration of
Okay.
mothers.
You mentioned
Mhm.
the scripture about honoring your mother and your father, right? Um, I know the using the word honor. It have two meanings in that sense, because in the scripture that you're using, it's talking about showing respect, showing to obey, to do what you're being told as long as it is correct unto Yahuwah, and to show respect and love to your mother and your father. But then when it comes to celebrating or honoring on a specific day, it is more like a celebration. It's not just showing respect, but at least but highlighting that I appreciate you. You are esteemed. It's two different contexts.
Yes, it's two different contexts. So what I'm saying is, while we have that responsibility, that duty, that God given duty to show honor to our parents,
Yes.
right? Both mother and father. But it did not put a special day to say this is the day that you should be showing that special honor
So that's
to
what I said. That's what I'm saying. It's two different
mother.
contexts. So one context is the respect and adoration that is daily,
That is daily,
right?
yes.
Then this honoring that we're talking about for the celebration of Mother's Day is it highlight it's putting giving them what's the word to use?
Yeah, just I don't know how to
Huh?
say.
Just
It's
putting them in a special at a special level.
It's not
yeah,
a
the
special level because
esteem.
at the end of the
Esteem.
day, everyone who who would even participate, I would say, in Mother's Day, or
Mhm.
who would honor someone in Mother's Day, throughout every single day of the year, they would still be honoring that person. It's not to say for the
Maybe.
rest of the time they just that person is just like there, and then on that one day,
But you'll be surprised. Some cases that's how it
That's
is.
yeah.
But
They might
but
remember a birthday
I'm just trying to
as well.
break down that there's a difference between the honoring your parents, which is to obey and to be respectful and to show them, to make
Mhm.
sure that they are right, to be there for them, you honor them. And then when we say we honor somebody, to show them, to acknowledge
Mhm.
who they are. There's one thing to show respect and to give you your adoration according your to obey you and to care for you and do all of these things. And then another thing where we highlight that we give you the praise, then we give you praise. We
Mhm.
give you that spotlight.
Yes.
So that's two different
Two different
honoring.
two different things. So what I find out about Mother's Day is, like you just highlighted, on the Dutch side of this island is the second Sunday of May.
Mhm.
And for the French side, it's the last Sunday in May. And in other countries around the world, they have different dates
Days.
for Mother's Day. It's
Mhm.
not one set day for
Exactly.
Mother's Day.
Correct.
And that was one of my reasonings for not thinking how to say you can really tie it into any pagan festival or any pagan culture. Whereas, for example, when you look at Christmas, Easter, and some of those other pagan traditions that you can say kind of got perverted and found their way into Christianity, all of them always line up around the same time. For
Mhm.
Mother's Day, almost every country, especially ones with different cultures that celebrate it, they choose different dates, and those dates do not coincide with any other pagan holiday.
Some does.
Which ones?
Right? You have some that, especially for those who come in the start of spring, of fertility, those which are associated with that time is
Yeah,
of
but
pagan
all of them are
origin.
in spring, but they're not
Not all
around
in
the same.
spring.
Not all, but I'm saying the ones,
The
the
ones that
pagan
are
traditions, the two that I know about, which is I was saying you the name earlier,
the
Rhea
Roman Greek.
and
Mhm.
Sibel. Yeah,
Roman Greek.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
Rhea and Sibel,
Romans and the Greeks.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
they're two names. The times that those two festivals used to be celebrated, when I checked for all the different countries that celebrate Mother's Day, none of them fell around that time. You can say it fall in the same
Season.
season,
Yeah.
but not
Yes.
even in the same month.
Okay.
Right.
So that's very, it's too general and too wide to try to say, okay, it's celebrated based on this festival. Even the way they celebrated those festivals, it's not the same as how people celebrate Mother's Day. The only similarities is that it's just mother figures. That's the only similarities.
Well, the mother figure, yes. And that is one of the things that we look at in the pagan customs, these mother figures, because they have mother god in a lot of the customs from Babylon, right? The queen of heaven is the mother god. And you have in Christianity, you have Mary, the mother of God. And you have reference to Mother Earth, which also, again, is of some pagan origin. So the mother figure worshiping the mother god, yeah, father god and mother god, which is not of Hebrew culture. So when we talk about pagan, we contrast that with what is Hebrew culture,
Or what yeah, give his people.
what Yah give to his people as their culture. So if it's not, if you're a Bible believer and the customs that you're adopting, the practices that you're carrying out is not according to the Hebrew customs, then it is referred to as pagan. It's from some other religion, some other cultures.
So you see it as something pagan, even though it is not necessarily, and forget about Mother's Day for right now, even though in its entirety, it is not worship to any other god.
So what we're looking at is the origin. Who first started to
No, but that's
observe?
what I'm asking. Take Mother's Day out of it, and then I'm going to bring it back into, because of the statements you're making. So take Mother's Day out of it, right? You're
Mhm.
saying that once something was not established, for example, we see them
To the
practicing it
Hebrew
in the
culture.
Bible through the Hebrew culture. Once it didn't come from there, then one time it's paganistic. Even if in its entirety it's not worship to no other god, it's not no form of idolization, anything like that. Once it come from a culture that was not Hebrew, then automatically
And
it's pagan.
it's not idolatry.
What you saying, brother? What is not
No,
idolatry?
I'm saying what the example she's trying to give is a cultural practice that is not necessarily idolatry.
Not worshiping any other god
Correct.
as
So
the way they celebrate it.
yeah,
But this
but it's
is
not Hebrew.
so when we talk about Ishtar, or the Queen of Heaven.
Mhm.
She is worship. The Queen of Heaven is worship.
Mhm.
Mary, the Mother of God, is worship.
Yeah, but I you still
Right?
not answering my question. That's what I want to know before we bring it back to there because of the statements.
If when we say pagan, it means it's of another culture. As to how it is enacted in worship, there's not always a clear evidence to say this was done in worship, but in some cases, yes, it was honoring the god of fertility.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just I don't know if
No,
you're understanding what I'm
the
saying.
okay. Let
Because
me let me let me try to
you keep
rephrase
relaying
it.
it back to worship, but that's what I'm saying. For something to be called to be called paganistic, a
Mm.
pagan culture, right? Does it need to have the criteria that hey, it's honoring, worshiping, or idolizing
Oh,
something other than God?
oh no, it doesn't always have to be tied into worship. You'll have
Okay.
different practices, different cultures. They're doing things for different reasons. We have
Okay.
to find out what is the reason why these people are doing
Mhm.
what they're doing.
Okay. Basically, the definition of pagan is against the norm. So
Against
anything
whose norm?
exactly. So against the majority, the norm of the majority. So basically, back then, Bible times, the Hebrews would have been pagan because they were against the norm of the rest of the world.
Technically speaking.
Technically speaking. So
So now Christianity being the most popular religion, then anything
religion,
that is outside of Christianity is considered pagan,
correct.
except for those pagan practices that are adopted into Christianity.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mother's Day, it's a Christian celebration, right?
So we
No, it's
in
Mother's
my
Day. It's not a
research,
Christian celebration.
in my research, I found when they're talking about the origin of Mother's Day, I found three different origin
Yeah.
being reported.
Mhm.
Right. So they have one origin being most recent in 1900s, 1914,
The American
the
Mother's Day,
American
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Mother's
most
Day.
popular.
That's the most popular one. So talking about a lady, Anna Jarvis,
Mm-hmm.
she decided to honor her mother, and she make a declaration, she petition to government officials, whatever, to do this to honor her mother and ask others to do it. And then few years later, 3, 4 years down the line, she realized that they're making this thing so commercialized and pushing it as a commercial thing. And she like, no, but this is not the idea that I had for this Mother's Day, just to honor your mother in your own private time, your own space, and not that you're gonna make it a whole commercialized thing. So she herself, who started it, now petitioning to stop it. But
But
it had done
she
already.
wasn't really petitioning to stop it. She was petitioning about how they commercialize it because she feel like they were losing the true meaning,
Essence.
the
Essence
essence
of
behind it. And
Mhm.
again, you would have that with anything. Because if I own a business and there becomes this thing, no, I'm going to use this to
Mhm.
push my business to make money on that day.
Yeah,
And that's just being realistic.
yeah.
That's with every and anything.
Okay.
So
But
So
after Christmas and Valentine's Day, Mother's Day is next in line.
yeah,
for the
Commercial,
commercialized, yeah.
most
and then they
commercialized.
have Father's Day, who is next. That's
Mhm.
commercialized. You
Yeah.
have
I've
Children's
I've
Day,
I've heard,
commercialized. You have Teachers Appreciation Day, which is very commercialized these days.
yeah, but I've heard a comedian give a report on how these days, these holidays are being promoted and how much commercialized they are. He said that Father's Day is number 20 on the list. And he was like, how is it that you could find 19 other days to celebrate more than Father's Day? How come the father not getting the recognition that we need supposed to get? Anyways, that's another research that we would have to do. We have some comments online. Should we celebrate St. Martin's Day or Jamaica's Independence Day or Emancipation Day, seeing that they originated from non-Hebrew culture?
And take the other comment one time because it mentioned something.
Or the fact that different cultures honor teachers on various specific dates. Is that pagan as well?
Exactly.
No,
Based on the statement made earlier.
yes, I understand the question. That is why I go back to the mention of the early mother God worship, the early worship of mothers.
Okay, so then
Okay.
I have
Mother
a,
God.
okay, so I have a question. If we're going back to the early worship of mother gods, right? What similarities do you see there, and how they used to worship in these festivals to what Mother's Day is? What
Today.
similarities can you draw other than the fact of it's a mother figure?
Right. It's well, that's the common factor. The mother figure, the mother being highlighted, and to say you're not the first to be highlighting mothers. Mothers have always been highlighted in these cultures.
Yeah, but then
So the fact that you copying from those cultures now and think, okay, it is a good idea to highlight mothers, and not reasoning as to why were they highlighting mothers.
but then
And you
that's
just see it as something looking like the right thing to do, to highlight mothers, and you
But then if
catch
you're
on
saying
with it.
copying, if you're copying something, is because you're taking traditions, you're taking things that they're doing, and then you're rebranding it. That's not what is happening in Mother's Day. The only common factor is the motherhood. And again, you're saying you see other traditions doing this and you decide it's a good idea to copy it. Whereas, as you can see, where the intention from Mother's Day came from is that, hey, I lost my mother, and I think we should honor.
That's one origin.
Well, yeah, that's one.
origin.
Yeah, but then the origin of what we celebrate today as Mother's Day, that's where it actually became an official stamped date that people celebrate it now. That's where it came from. The other two, which is Bel and Rhea, that is a pagan tradition that some people claim as, hey, this is the real true origin. And if, for example, your different beliefs looking at it, I would say that is not really the origin of Mother's Day, in my opinion.
But their practices is older than what we find in Christianity.
Yeah, but
No.
it's
Okay.
older, but it's not the
Okay.
same. It's not common. For
Right.
example, looking at Christmas, Easter, these things, although you could say you rebrand it, when you actually look at it, you're literally seeing the similarities. You're literally seeing how same it is. So you
They're
cannot
doing the
refute
same-
when you exactly you
You're doing
cannot
the same
refute it.
tradition.
In Mother's Day, that is not the case.
Okay, so let me just, so that's one origin where we have, that's the most recent origin. Then a
Most
second,
recent, yeah.
then a second origin that we have is the church.
But sorry, I didn't address the
St.
St.
Martin's
Martin's
Day,
Day,
Independence Day,
Independence
Emancipation Day. Yeah,
These are cultural events
that are
that-
not Hebrew.
that to each nation, national holidays, and it is not in worship to any god.
But the same can be
Independence
said.
Day, St. Martin's Day, I don't see St. Martin's Day as worshiping which god, which other god you're worshiping on St. Martin's Day. It's the same creator that St. Martin declare as their god. It's not another god that they're worshiping.
Okay,
But-
so
but-
you're
St.
saying that,
it's a Christian country as far as I know it.
so you're saying that the customs that you could go along with, as long as it doesn't have to do with the worship of a deity or any other gods, then it's okay. But when it have to do with those kind of worship,
Of
then
other
you
gods.
stay away from it.
Right.
Yeah. But then how
Okay.
is what that's what I'm still trying to get, how is Mother's Day a worship of that deity?
No, so what I'm saying, the idea of having a special
Yes.
day
Same question.
for mothers is not a new idea. You might put it in with a new um, in a new context, a new concept. You might bring a new concept of it, but it is not original to say Mother's Day. It's not anything original. For example, the British have Mothering Day,
Mhm.
That's coming
Mothering
back to the
That's
church.
with the
Sunday,
church.
coming back to the Mother Church,
Mhm.
Yes.
right?
That's
So
the
it's
other origin story.
so
Mhm.
so for you to come after that and say, because this that didn't get brought over by the which was it, the Puritans that came over, the first set of Christians that came to America. They didn't continue with that mothering
Mother and Sunday.
modern Sunday, but then here comes some hundred years after someone coming up with this idea,
Okay.
But
of
So
a
now,
Mother's
so,
Day.
yeah,
so
but then
now
my
that,
thing is, okay, what,
yeah, let me
why
let me let me just go back over again. So we have this young lady who come up with her idea,
Anna
Mhm.
Jarvis
Anna Jarvis,
for
yeah.
the Americans, yes.
And then we have the church back in the 16th century in England, as you mentioned, the Modern Church, which was a practice where every fourth Sunday of Lent is when they will celebrate the Mother Church, where the people will go back to their quote unquote mother church. So usually be in the Catholic Church and so forth. So the fourth Sunday of Lent is when they celebrate that.
Mhm.
And so they go back to the mother church, and they over the years, as they're doing that, they also end up honoring mothers in the church over the years while doing that. So that was a practice that happened in the church. So that's the second origin story going backwards.
The same church that worship Mary as the mother of God.
Yes.
Yeah, but even in the mothering, it was never about the worship of Mary. That's just the worship of Mary is just the regular custom. But Mothering Day was not about that.
No,
Modern
but
day was about the
It's just
the head
everybody. It's
church.
like even now with Adventist, we have set times throughout the year where everybody would go to one specific, the
The main
main
conference.
congregation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
okay, but what I'm saying is these concepts, because like Mary, mother of God, is that a correct concept of scripture?
She is
That
the mother
I
of
agree.
God, but praying to her and whatnot, that's what is not
she's the mother
biblical.
of the Son of God, not the mother of God.
So then
Okay.
you're saying Jesus is not God.
Jesus is the Son of God. When I say God,
You're talking about
He's
the
God the
father.
Father.
I talk about God the
Father.
Father.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You see, I don't believe in the Trinity doctrine as proposed by the church. So when I say God, I talk about God the Father, and I talk about Jesus, Yahusha, the Son of God.
We have some more comments there. Welcome, Brother Joel.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, sorry, I turned off that mic. Yes.
Yes,
Speak again.
Shabbat shalom. Good night.
Yeah. So the deaf poet, he said, but we highlight mothers, fathers, teachers, children, nurses, and much
Oh, yeah,
more.
it have nurse day now.
Why does it need to be a religious celebration? How is Mother's Day or Father's Day or Teacher's Day or World Children's Day in worship to any other god. And Sister Lisa asks, what religious tie does the Father's Day have? We I don't think we're prepared for that. Anybody will deal with that question.
I checked.
You
It don't
check?
have.
Okay.
Because that was one of the points I wanted to make. You have all of these days in celebration of basically the different people within the community. It doesn't have. It's not paganistic.
Okay. And
And
happy
when I
Sabbath,
checked
Devon.
for
Thank you for
each
tuning
one,
in.
Happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath.
Yes. So yeah, the different days that doesn't really have anything ties to religious. Joel, what's your thoughts on it? Mother's Day. Should we celebrate it as believers? I have the third origin that I have to go over, but yeah, I know you mentioned it
You might
before.
get it
But
before 9 o'clock.
Go ahead. Do the third origin first.
yeah, so the third origin that I found in my research was mentioned earlier by Amalia and Brother Wilson. The Greek and the Roman celebration of their goddess, the mother fertility and motherhood. So the god of fertility and motherhood. So the Greek will celebrate Rhea, while the Romans celebrated Cybele. So that's another origin. That's the oldest origin that we have, that I have found in my research. The oldest origin. So there's three different origins, quote unquote origins. The oldest one is the Greek and Romans honoring their goddess. And then the second one is the church, Christian church, having a Mothering Sunday, which is the fourth Sunday of Lent. And then the latest origin is Anna Jarvis honoring her mother after she passed away. So, without that origin story, should we as believers celebrate Mother's Day, honoring taking that specific day to highlight that we appreciate our mothers? Because obviously, when you use the word honoring your parents, that's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
But then the specific day to highlight that we appreciate them.
Appreciate the mothers.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be kind of ticklish because you don't want to fall into the trap of where there was originally something else and they just camouflage it and bring it back in the next gift wrapping, you could say. But the thing that I couldn't find was like how they would celebrate.
It's
The origin, the
No, they
pagan.
They have the ways they would celebrate it, but it just looks nothing like what we do today.
So how did they use
What was it?
They used to have. Let me read you a list.
the cakes?
No,
Okay, so
they used to have processions through the streets. They used to have, music with drums, flutes, public games, theatrical performances. They used to have ritual feasting. There used to be ceremonial statutes carried in the parades. There used to be self-denial rituals. There used to be a figure tied to death and rebirth. And they would used to be mourning. They used to mourn before the day they would celebrate the Mother's Day. They used to mourn, and then the following day they would celebrate to basically celebrate the
Life.
rebirth and how life and how mothers does basically after death they does bring life. And that was one of the key aspects in the celebration, the mourning part first before the celebration. And they used to have certain specific ceremonies as well to help symbolize the renewal of fertility. So out of all of these things, I read it, especially the mourning part and the self-denial and all of that. In today's Mother's Day, who does do that?
But now I catch on. Now I catch a similarity there.
The mod.
The
Which one?
latest
The latest
modern origin, she was mourning her
for her
mother's
mother.
death. And then she so it
Yeah, so
that's a
what
similarity.
that's what trigger her to create it. That it's not part of the celebration. This is part. I'm talking about how you celebrate.
Correct.
This is
correct,
not part of
understood.
celebration, so you cannot say it's a similarity.
Understood.
Understood.
We got
but
some. We got
say
some comments. We got some comments.
It's repackaging as
We got some comments, and I
The
have
only
to.
thing repackaged is the name because
The
I'm
Mother's
yet
Day.
to see a similarity. That's what I from the start. That's what I'm keep asking. If you're repackaging something, is because when you
Mhm.
take off the package and you look inside, it's the same exact thing. When you're taking off the package, I'm yet to see the same exact thing. It's not. The only similarity at point right now is just motherhood. That's the only similarity.
Yeah, see,
Okay.
for me, the critical thing is that while the church would implement these days and embrace these days, they forget about the days that the Most High put for us to observe. They abandon the feast days, the Passover, the feast of first fruit, the unleavened bread, the Pentecost, the Day of Atonement, Feast of Trumpets, Feast of Tabernacles, all these things they put aside and they bring in all these other festivals to replace what the Most High put.
I agree that yes, a lot of the things that we should be celebrating has been washed away. But all of these other festivals, I don't see how it relates to Mother's Day.
Okay. We're
Because,
gonna
for
take a
example,
pause. Yeah.
when you're talking about again Christmas, Easter, you can see how, for example, it washing away Passover, it washing away certain real biblical things that we're supposed to be celebrating.
Exactly.
What is Mother's Day washing away?
We're gonna take a break. Yeah, take a break there. Thank you. 1 minute. Yeah, so just want to close off on the radio program. Thank you for tuning in. For those who are listening on the radio, we are still going to be live on YouTube. You can follow us. You can tune in to our YouTube page, Hallelujah Ambassadors YouTube page. Like the page, subscribe, like the video, and join us in the conversation as we continue. So this is Truth Seekers presented by the Hallelujah Ambassadors, and we fellowship on Sabbath from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at number 6080 Illich Road. You can join us in worship. Until next week again, the Truth Seekers will be back as we seek for truth over tradition. Shalom. Shabbat shalom to the video listeners.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So that's what it says. I see the tree and Santa Claus in modern Christmas celebration. I see the bunny, eggs, and hot cross buns in Easter celebrations. I guess he's asking where are the pointers? What are the things that
The similarities.
like the emblems? Like most of these different gods have
The
right
emblems,
the
how they
emblem.
honor them.
Yeah. So whether there's the Christmas tree or the Easter egg or the Easter bunny, or where is the symbol that they use, the token
Where
that they
the
use?
symbol, where
No,
the
just the
symbol,
just the token. Like yeah,
where
so
the
like
symbol for Rhea and Sybil, where the
yeah,
emblem for them.
like they would have a mistletoe or this or that rule that to yeah. So where is it in today's celebration?
Right. So we don't see those things in the
Mhm.
celebration. But the question is, why should we leave out the things that God said that we should do and find other things
No,
But,
so it's
but
not
then that
saying to
does not
leave them.
answer that. You see, the question you're asking is very deflective because it is not answering the question of whether it is paganistic or not. Because now you're trying to say, well, why are we not celebrating what God has for us? Why do you want to celebrate other things? But the question is that other thing paganistic? That is the question, not
Yeah.
asking why we not celebrate. This is not the
So I
conversation.
say it's paganism because the pagans had mother gods that they would worship. And the idea of highlighting mothers on a particular day is not something new. But the pagans,
Let me ask you another key question then. And because I keep trying to find out the similarities and you have yet to draw show me a
Okay.
similarity. So let me ask you a question because they used to be honoring mother gods, right? In them honoring the mother gods, at any point they used to honor their mothers in that tradition. Did their mothers used to get any special treatment on that day? No, it was about
No,
the
we
god.
haven't seen any
Exactly.
evidence of it.
It was
Because
about
about the body.
exactly.
Yeah, it's about
So that,
God.
exactly. And it's the same way when you look at Christmas, what are you really celebrating? You're celebrating Jesus, as they would say. But it's not like you're celebrating, for example, it's Jesus' birthday, and this day you find a human, how to say, put a human aspect on it. Even though you think you're celebrating Jesus, it still has a higher power that you're celebrating on that day. The same thing with Easter. Easter is centered around a higher power. Mother's Day is not centered around a higher power. It's literally centered around humans, showing somebody appreciation. The same way on your birthday, your special day, I would show you appreciation on that day. Just because
See,
it's your birthday, I will show you appreciation. And I'm looking at you as no God or no higher entity, no higher power. The same thing for every other day that they have celebrating other humans. It's just that day I show you appreciation.
I like how my wife do it. My wife say every time one of her children make birthday, that's Mother's Day for her. That's a day that she was a mother. So that's the day she observed as Mother's Day. Not one day out of the year,
But
randomly.
then, but you still saying
Pick
she observed
and
it
put
as
aside.
Mother's Day. So then why aren't you saying when she observed it as Mother's
So
Day?
she have many Mother's Day.
But the
As much children
yeah,
as she have.
but the world has many Mother's Day. It's not one specific day. There's like 8 Mother's Days
Yeah, but
in the year,
for each country to get one day
and it's
to use.
different days.
It's
So
not that
generally
it's not like
speaking,
if the God side here now is going to join the friend side and celebrate
and
Mother's
that's
Day
a
again.
key point. It's so when you look at it on the world, there is literally 8 Mother's Days that are celebrated worldwide, different
Only
days,
eight?
and there's probably even more.
More than that.
Exactly. So going back to a higher entity, for example, with the goddess Esther, she have her specific time where she is celebrated. That's why when you look at Easter, you know, okay, this is who you are celebrating. If somebody is celebrating, for example, let's say Easter
That's the
used to
Easter
be
they come with the
celebrated
eggs and the
sometime in August or
rabbits.
whatever the case may be, then it's like, well, if you celebrated that God, you celebrated her up because that's not her time. That's not her ritual. The same thing with Christmas. All of them line up based on those paganistic holidays. When you look at what they do, it lines up with those paganistic holidays. Mother's Day celebration do not line up with the same time as Isabel and oh my gosh, what's her name? Ria.
Yeah.
The way
Yeah.
they celebrate them, it doesn't line up. We could bring they brought the tokens in, it doesn't line up. So again, how can you say it's celebrating that when you're literally looking at it and it
No.
doesn't show that?
We're saying it's of a pagan origin. Originally, where this thing started, who was worshipping the term mother, the
Yeah,
mother god.
You cannot say the origin of something that is the origin just because they did it over there. Because that's it, like if I get an idea in my head and I create something and I find out 20 years ago
Somebody
somebody
is
had
doing
that same
something.
idea who I knew nothing about, then you cannot say my idea originated based on that.
So you're saying Anna
Somebody,
Jarvis,
so
Anna Jarvis
somebody else.
knew nothing about what was happening before.
Most likely, you wouldn't know that. You know how many people do not even know about those paganistic cultures. You grab people on the street and you ask them about those things, they have never heard about it. So it's not for you because the same scenario I just gave you, somebody who probably knew about the person who had that idea 20 years ago who come and say, oh, she took that idea from this person, it originated from there, and the whole story could build like that. When in truth and in reality, I knew nothing about that, nothing about it, and that's the reality. But then you can draw different assumptions. What somebody could come and say is, okay, maybe they have a similar name and whatnot, but look at how she know, look at her this. So no, I don't. When you start looking at it, no, it's not the same.
So you can tell me why it have to be on a Sunday?
That part I'll come back to you on it. I'm not trying to answer it. Really, I'll not try and answer it. But actually, for example, Mexico is not on a Sunday. Thailand is not on a Sunday. I just remembered. They have specific dates that they don't.
They have dates.
Yes, there only is this date, that date. It doesn't matter what date
Yes,
fall on.
but for the American, which I believe is the most popular, most countries observe the American date. Right? I think it's the most popular.
American or Spanish. You have the Latin
The
American.
Spanish whole is the
Yes,
first.
Yeah.
No, the American one is the
America is the
Well,
second. No,
second Sunday,
And the
Yes.
and the
Spanish is
Spanish one is the one
First.
before.
The first Sunday.
How to call it? No,
same time
the
as the
last.
French.
The French is the last. Mother's Day
French
for
is the
Spanish
last,
was
and the-
celebrated the 3rd of May. This year, the 3rd of May 2026. Americans celebrated it the 10th of May 2026. And the French colonies were celebrated on the 31st of May 2026.
Right. So we have some more comments. Right.
Um,
It sounds like if we find
what
out.
one sec. Oh, we missed Gigi. Shabbat Shalom, Queen Gigi.
Sabbath.
Yeah. Okay. Next one now.
Sounds like if we find out that some other pagan culture were the first to celebrate wedding anniversary, then we would have to plan to celebrate anniversary marriages.
And you know, let me
Well, rings, wedding
I was
rings.
just about to say a wedding ring. I wanted to bring that where they had someone, for example, who was talking about unbelievers should stop wearing wedding rings because it's paganistic, because the Greeks and them and da, 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 da. And that's where the whole and she was basically given where the tradition of wearing a wedding ring to represent being married came from. And she was like, so therefore it's paganistic and as all believers you shouldn't be wearing wedding rings.
So is that what we said? Getting on Let me continue.
It
real
look
quick.
but it's
No,
relevant
no,
to the
no,
Finish
no.
reading the
but
comment
it's
first.
relevant.
In the point of jewelry, it's about the design of the jewelry.
No, because even
No,
she
no, no.
said she wears jewelry. Jewelry is not the problem. She said wedding rings because of where it came from. Because she do her research and how she said it's paganistic. So then, therefore, going based off of what you're saying and your argument, you should not have a wedding ring on top of your finger.
In what way is the wedding ring
Yeah.
used in worship?
Well, they
Yeah, I
use it
can-
in worship. They
They
use.
use it. Like, I cannot go and give it because I just listened to it. But literally, the argument you're making as to why Mother's Day should not be celebrated, as to why it should be paganistic, based on that same argument, you should not.
Yeah, wedding rings are pagan.
No, but when Abraham sent for a wife for Isaac, he sent jewelry.
Yeah,
Jewelry.
jewelry.
They didn't say
Yeah.
wedding ring.
Yeah,
He
but
didn't
not
say wedding ring, but um,
the origin of the wedding ring itself.
Is from
The wedding ring, the symbol of being married as a wedding ring, is our pagan culture. While giving jewelry was or earrings or so jewelry. So jewelry is not the problem. But when it comes to the jewelry, the significant ring, or one particular ring being the sign of marriage, it came from a pagan culture. That's just what it is.
And you're saying that it was also used as a form of worship
Yes,
of their God.
yes. Um, so it's basically,
To show that it never ends.
don't worry,
Cycle.
we can we can do that research. We can do that research. We can stick to
Okay.
the topic tonight.
Yeah.
No, but it just going back to
Yeah, it's a matter of what I'm saying is a matter of what we adopt from different cultures. It's not everything that another nation do. I'm not condemning everything that other cultures practice in it. But if they were using it in worship of the other god, like how I know they worship the Queen of Heaven, the
Mhm.
Mother God, then that is where I have questions. But if it's a case where they did something, if it's a case where they were doing something that is good, not associated with the worship of a foreign God, I have no condemnation for it. My only problem is when they worship other gods and we adopt from that practice. It's not everything they do because they weren't Hebrews that I'm condemning it because it's not good. It's if it was employed in the worship of other gods.
and that's and I 100% agree with you, and that's why I'm asking you to show me how this is the worship of other gods. You have yet to. You keep saying the same thing, and you have yet to show me how.
Because they say, put it on a Sunday.
That's the if that's your reasoning
Why
behind
why
it, then if that's your
Yeah,
reasoning
that's your
behind it,
reason.
and there are other countries that
Okay.
celebrate Mother's Day not on Sundays, then
then you mean there are countries that worship their gods on Fridays too?
but
Other
even but
Pentecost
okay,
is on a
okay,
Sunday.
no, but since you're saying it because you put it on a Sunday, the festival we have it's it used to always fall on Sundays. And that if you're saying that's the origin of Mother's Day, and it never used to always fall on Sundays. So
I put Mother's Day as in my research of Mother's Day, the first mother, Queen of Heaven, that was birth, Sarah, the Queen of Heaven, the one that is that they said went to the moon. When Nimrod died and he go to the sun, he went into the sun. That's why they worship the sun god. And his wife, Semiramis, when she died, they said she went to the moon. So they worship the moon god, the Queen of Heaven. Read about that in Jeremiah. They make cakes unto the Queen of Heaven. That is the Mother God, and referring to as Mother God. And we see coming down into the Catholic Church, referring to Mary as the Mother of God. And these things I'm not in agreement with.
okay, I understand. Still don't see.
That's before we're talking about Rhea and Sybil.
Okay, but what I keep asking is the similarities because if you're calling it or an origin, there needs and you're saying this is what this stems from, there need to be a similarity or similarities.
You know
So
the
what
term we
are
use now, mutations.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
It changes.
yeah, but
but you
the
would still
emblems,
see
you
exactly.
so okay, look, Christmas come from a pagan root, right?
Hmm.
And so we have the emblems of that pagan
Con-
root, and you could see them. You could
Continued, yes.
continued.
They continue.
So that's why they say the question is, if Mother's Day came from a pagan root, pagans generally have. So are the mothers the
They got
idol?
tradition.
Yeah.
So are the mothers the idol in, and saying that they're worshiping the mothers?
They probably never even used to bother with the mothers. All they used to care about is that pagan god that they given their worship to.
So in today's Mother's Day celebration, is it that the mothers are acting as the gods and are being worshipped? And that's the same.
It's not done in the same
No.
way.
You cannot even. I'm trying to even think
It's not done
based
in
on
the
how
same
you
way.
would worship
I'm
or
not saying.
idolize, for example.
I'm not saying it is
You
done
can't even
in the
look at
same
Mother's
way.
Day and see it as that.
I'm not saying that it is
Okay,
done in the same
speak into the
way.
mic. Speak into the mic.
I'm not saying that it is done in the same way as the pagans were worshiping their gods. But the fact that you still seek to put aside a day, especially for mothers,
So if I
one day out of the year, and this especially for mothers, you
But-
look at,
Mhm.
so
But
Where-
But
it's
coming
the
back to the
same.
putting
Is
a
this- is
day
this- is-
aside, they have a day.
is this the first
Let me-
time that mothers get that recognition?
Let me try and give
It's not
you.
the first.
Let me try and give
But
you
it
an
doesn't-
example, Brother Wilson, as to why the analogy that you're using it is not consistent. Because we recently did a study on birthdays, and we see where birthday celebration was also being done to and also have association with other gods, and we see the traditions that they apply to to honor those gods. And then we, in our studies, we acknowledge that in celebrating someone's birthday, you are acknowledging their life, their presence with you, that they have lived another year, and they're still with us. They're still a blessing for us, and we honor them. We celebrate them, and so you take away the traditions of honoring the gods that was in the pagan celebration, right?
Right.
And you
so-
took away those traditions, and you still honor the person that is celebrating their birthday. So now, with this Mother's Day celebration, what Amalia is trying to show you is that the pagan celebration of worshiping those goddesses, Rhea and Cybele, those traditions, the traditional worship towards them, is not being practiced now.
I hear that loud and clear. I
So,
don't have any
so then,
disagreement with that statement.
so then, in acknowledging or recognizing the mothers today, honoring them just like how you honor somebody on their birthday, what is the difference in the two? That is what that is the point I think Amalia is trying to bring across.
Okay. So we're going to look at honoring someone or showing appreciation to an individual on their birthday. It is not a national day that is a birthday celebration. It's one individual's birthday celebration, if that individual chooses to celebrate their birthday or appreciate whatever acknowledgement is given on their birthday. It has nothing to do, it is nothing to be compared like a Mother's Day celebration, which is
Commercialized.
institutionalized. A date is set every year, and the church endorses it. And it's a generally, if correct me if I'm wrong, but what I hear about Mother's Day, it is a church service.
The
Is there another way of celebrating Mother's Day other than the church service? Is the church service the highlight of the Mother's Day?
No, but you can't say that church service is the highlight of Mother's Day when all
90%
of
of
the
people-
don't even go to church on Mother's Day. It's not a religious holiday. It's not something that started in the church or what you can say for you to make it religious. More than half of the people who celebrate Mother's Day don't even go to church. Atheists celebrate Mother's Day. People who don't believe in God celebrate Mother's Day. It's just, again, like you say, on that day for the church service, some churches would choose to say, hey, happy Mother's Day, and probably preach a sermon about how your mother is important or whatever the case may be. The same thing they do that for Father's Day. On Children's Day, when you go to church, that does be the theme. On when it was Teachers Appreciation Day, that was the theme of talking to the children about respecting your teachers and how they're important to society, and also parents about respecting teachers because they also help raise up your child and all of those things. Are we going to say no, those days are religious days and it's the highlight of the day, the church service? No.
But you see, the Teachers' Day, the Children's Day, the Nurses' Day, whatever other professional day that you want to talk about, these things, they are good. I have no problem with them. And I cannot trace them to any pagan origin.
But
But-
you're still yet to see how you trace it. If you're tracing something, it's
So
because
are you saying that the claim about pagans observing, worshiping a mother god
Mhm.
is not true? Is
I
not
have,
there?
but
No,
from the start, I
that
have
is
been saying
true.
that though. I have been saying
Yeah.
it is true. I have never refuted that fact. What I have been asking is how is their worship to those gods have any similarity to Mother's Day and how it is celebrated? What is the similarity apart
Mother.
from you? If that's the only similarity, then
No,
Because
No, okay.
the
Well,
mother,
wait,
and then
wait,
are they
wait,
worshiping the mother?
I just wanted to show
because no, you're
the
not worshiping
church,
your mother.
when the church having the Mother's Day, the Mother's Sunday, right? It started as to get people to come back to the headquarters, come back to the mother
to
church,
the mother church.
the mother church, to get people to come back to the headquarters, right? And then over time, it starts to eventually acknowledge mothers within the church. But it's still about coming back to the mother church. Now, what the pagans were doing, they were worshiping an entire mother god, a mother god, which and the god of fertility and motherhood. So, and Amalia outlines some of the the traditions that they were doing in worshiping that god.
Yes.
Now, the 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 origin story of the church and the origin story of Anna Jarvis does not line up with
So
the
all
pagan practices.
so all three are three different celebration. Basically, you're saying because one is the pagan one we would say is where they were celebrating the mother god.
Yes.
The
An
next,
actual God.
yeah, an actual god. The second one was with the church where they were saying come back to the parent church or the mother church and become one church and
Let's worship
Like,
together on that. Like I said with the Adventists.
A
let's do
convention,
that.
just a convention.
and
and
stuff. Yeah.
what they had on the island the other day,
Believers convention.
Yeah, that's all different denominations.
Yeah,
coming
so
together.
Come together.
so they was having Mother Sunday, Mother Sunday, and
Basically,
Mothering
same
Saturday.
time frame. Same time frame.
Mothering Saturday.
Mother, and then now they have the next one that says, "Oh, she honoring her mother, because honoring the life of her mother, thanking, I guess."
Yeah, so it's three different origins.
So three different practices, three different ways of
The only thing that is
celebrating
common in the three of them,
is
Is
the
like
the
what
name.
they
mother.
said, is the springtime on Sunday. That's the only thing common. Springtime Sunday.
Oh, you
Sunday
have a
for
lot of
Christians.
comments.
Yeah,
that you
when I
need
talk
to
about
read
the
through.
country,
Like you need to scroll up.
All right, so
let's
okay, we're
comments.
just gonna read all the comments and then you could comment on them. Go ahead.
you getting
Okay, besides the mic comments,
It was after the ring comment we stopped.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, look at
Oh.
right here. From Does the Observance from Lisa, number 1.
Right here.
okay,
No, we
please
read-
point
we read
out the
that.
pagan emblems and
We
rituals.
read
Yeah, we
those
did that.
two. It starts from Lisa. Does the observance of these cultural practices go against the Bible? That one.
Okay. With all due respect, that is okay. Let me
So
read that.
just-
Does
but
the observance of
answer it
these
quick before
cultural
we move
practices
on.
go against the Bible? One sec. With all the due respect, that is whataboutism.
Mhm.
Are you saying Mother's Day is replacing a biblical
Festival.
festival? Is Mother's Day a religious festival? How
Mhm.
can you celebrate your mother's offer? She after
She's dead.
she is dead and say it is not pagan? That's a question.
But
When
I
you
will
when
answer
you
that.
look
Mhm.
when you look we're gone. When you look at Matthew 23:23, I see where if the practice is permissible, do it without neglecting the commands of Yah. What if I highlight my mother and my father on my birthday, the anniversary of when they became my parents? Is that wrong? The sound is okay. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Anna Jarvis was so distraught at the commercialization of the celebration of Mother's Day that she spent all her savings trying to get the practice to be outlawed. The sound is okay.
The
so
commercialization. of it.
Pentecost is on a Sunday. Yes. A celebration being on a Sunday does not make it wrong. How did they worship any of these pagan mother gods? And how do you see it present in today's celebration? Of note, honoring mother and fathers should be done year round, but a special recognition does not dishonor them or God Almighty. Otherwise, your wife would be wrong to be celebrated by each child. I have one day out of the year especially set aside for celebrating my wife. Celebration doesn't mean worship. All Mother's Day celebration origin is pagan. I highly regard and honor teachers all year round, but Teachers Appreciation Day is a special day. The commandment says to honor mother and father so the church can embrace it without contradiction. Mother's Day brunch is a highlight of Mother's Day. At Ian Simmons, what type of celebration you use to practice on Mother's Day? The church also have Youth Sunday, Youth Sabbath, and Pastors Appreciation Day. I don't think these days are set aside to worship youths or pastors. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead now. Be
So-
caught up.
So address all the questions that you wanted to.
Go
I'll
scroll
go.
up back a little bit there, Paul.
You can. That way was that you should address them one time and move
Yeah.
on.
Go.
Oh, some of them don't need a response. Really,
Yeah, some of.
but-
Mhm.
So the first one with Lisa, does it wash away? We could run through it quick because we asked that earlier and you never answered it though. What biblical festivals does Mother's Day wash away? Or what about Mother's Day? If you look at the Bible biblically, what about it is wrong?
I'm not saying that Mother's Day directly replaces any of the biblical feast. What I'm saying is that in the churches that highlight Mother's Day celebration, that they are neglecting the celebrations that God command. I'm not saying that it replaces, it's used to replace one, but why paying so much attention to this celebration and neglecting what God has put in place?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
but
that is
so
true, but it doesn't
I didn't say
equate
that
to.
it replaces a particular
so then
biblical festival.
so then if you're keeping the biblical festivals, you're saying then it's okay to celebrate Mother's Day.
I'm not saying it's okay to celebrate Mother's Day based on what I understand
To be the
to,
origins.
to be the origin of Mother's Day. Change it how you want to come down the line, or whatever it turns out to be now. But what was it at the beginning?
So, okay,
But-
question.
yeah.
So, those who celebrate Mother's Day outside of spring, if a culture is celebrating Mother's Day outside of spring, because the original, the pagan practice is within spring. If it is celebrated outside of spring,
You might consider it outside of spring. I didn't look at that detail, but you know what is spring for us could be autumn for someone else. So
no.
it's-
So you're saying that it's a
the-
possibility that the culture that's
yeah,
celebrated.
I didn't look into it to see exactly what season,
Correct.
but I know it had to do with fertility.
So
But, mhm.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Based on if I follow you correctly, it's saying that it's a possibility that the culture that's celebrated outside of spring is because that their spring is different from our spring.
There is a possibility. As I say,
So
I did not look into that.
So, you,
So
you-
I'm
you're
not going to say that because I
Okay.
definitely did not look into that aspect of it.
okay.
Okay.
But that
A note that I see here, right? From it says Jarvis regret. It says Anna despised this profit-driven shift. That was the profit-driven shift to commercialize Mother's Day, arguing that the day was meant to be sentimental,
Mhm.
personal expression of love, not a transactional gift buying event. So her statement shows more like is a personal expression of love towards the mother in her view of the origin of it.
So going back to the Anna Jarvis, and I will answer both. I would answer a question. I think it was Ian Simmons
If the
who
mother
asked it
celebrating the mother when she's dead.
about dead. How is it not paganistic?
Mm.
Going back to that, Mother's Day was not about celebrating her dead mother. In all of her campaignings, it was the loss of her mother that made her want to celebrate Mother's Day so that people know to celebrate and appreciate your mothers while they are alive. Do not take them for granted. Write them letters. Tell them how much you love them. Like you said, be sentimental. Let them know you appreciate them while they are alive and here. If it was about honoring her dead mother, then it probably would have been about going to the graveyard or celebrating dead mothers or something like that. It was never about celebrating her dead mother. It was more of her coming to the realization that, hey, honor the people you love while they're here on earth alive. It's not about her dead mother. It was never about her dead mother.
I don't have a problem with
in the mic.
I don't have a problem with honoring your mother. You know, as I said in my opening statement, I believe mothers should be honored. All the sentiments, all the appreciation should be shown. What I am not in agreement with is this special day that is set by whom and for us to be following them in this commercialization of the day. And for many people, it's the day that they remember their mother the most.
But as
But-
we as I said,
You'll hear a lot of people make comments on that. What happened to the other days of the year? Do you really remember your mother? Right. So this is what I want to encourage, that yes, remember your mother as long as she's alive on a regular basis, and you don't have to wait for this special commercialized day that you do so. And this commercialized day, it's not, don't believe it's something new when it talk about observing Mother's Day, because it's something that was there, as we see, three different
origin story.
origins
Mhm.
that was there. So not it's not 1910 or 1914 wherever when it's was first incepted.
Okay,
Yep,
and
but
but
that's
okay, go
where
ahead.
she's saying that based on the research, we can see that there's three origin stories, right? And from Anna Jarvis' story, it doesn't seem to connect with the other two
No.
because she realized the commercialization part of it and she was against that. Even though she's the one that came up with the idea, she was against what it became.
Yeah, like the big fine
So,
big
as
flashy.
the
But the
as
president
the
had
quote
made it
unquote
a
founder,
holiday, you know,
In which country?
in
Uh,
America.
as the
It's not,
quote,
and it's not a holiday. It's just a
It-
Sunday. Most people off on Sundays.
Didn't it say holiday that she got the
it's
She got
president?
that
yeah,
day.
it's a
It became
holiday.
like a, but
It's
it's not like, for example, an actual holiday where it
no
cancel out
work.
work and everything. No, it's
It
just a
was-
recognized day.
Yeah. So
You didn't say what holiday, Joe?
yeah, it's just a secular holiday.
Yeah, it's not like actual holiday
But
as to what the term holiday means. Cancel out work, all of these things.
It's a secular
Yeah.
holiday.
It's not a public or federal holiday.
No,
So Mother's Day is widely recognized as an official holiday across the globe, but is not a public or federal holiday. So it's not like
So what the term holiday mean?
so
It's-
you have the holiday where is
Holiday.
So you
so
have
but for
but
birthday, on your birthday, people, let's say that is, for example, I would say January the 10th is a Maya holiday.
so but people call Passover a holiday. So it's not the term that it actually is. It's just because 4th of July holiday, Independence Day holiday, Labor Day holiday,
10 10 10.
10 holiday.
Holiday.
And what the term really means?
So 10 is a holiday for you.
It's not a holiday for example, the people who
No,
live across
so
the border.
so he said that holiday is referring back to the holly tree, and so when you call it a holiday, it is referring to the worship of the holly tree and these things. But then
But
10
and going back earlier, you did say
Independence
Independence Days
Day.
and those type of stuff. You wouldn't
They are
see it as
holidays.
paganistic, although they're holidays.
and we call them holidays, but it's really just feast days or celebration days. But the common
Or rest days.
but the common term in the
You could-
English
you could say
dialect,
rest days.
It's rest days, no work days.
No work days.
yeah.
But the common term to cover all of those, no work day, rest day, set apart day, all of these the common term in the English language to
holiday.
describe those days is holiday.
Yeah, so if I want to know which days I have off for the year, I could type in XXM public holidays in Google, and again, it's all public holidays. And yeah,
Yeah. So Mother's Day was also listed as
it is not a public
is
holiday.
a secular
It's not a public holiday.
holiday.
It's
It-
just an
it's
observance
And the
day.
comment
it's
just
not a
say,
public holiday. So public holiday is a day that basically or public or federal means that is a day that government give you that you have a half day, so you get, if you work, you get time and a half pay or you get double pay.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
You work on Mother's Day, your pay is the same.
exactly.
Passover is heavily commercialized as well. It is being it being commercialized doesn't negate its
Exactly.
value or intent.
Exactly.
Holiday now means a special observance day. You may work on some holidays. Yes. So
And Brother Lentford said exactly what I
it
was going to say. So I
it
don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, we do not celebrate holidays as holidays, but we acknowledge them as time off or government
Yeah,
days off.
I know the term. It was also us to look into the word origin.
yeah, so but I'm just I don't know if the church actually was okay, based on the origin stories. I can say that I don't think Anna Jarvis' creation, her origin story, have anything to do with the other two,
That's if she even heard about it.
right? Even though it came within the same time frame and the same the Sunday, same spring and Sunday, it did, right? But then when you go back to the church origin, I'm not sure if the church origin also link with the Greek and Roman origin. But it's possible because we see with the other holidays, we talk about Easter, Christmas, and all these other holidays. Those were also from Greek and Roman culture that the church adopted. So in this case, because of the precedent set with those other feast days and holidays that they celebrate from the Greek and Roman cultures, we can say that maybe that Mothering Sunday come from this Greek and Roman culture of celebrating the goddess because of the precedent. Even though we don't see the link,
Not even that. There's not
even
even a
though we don't
link
see the
there.
link, because of the precedent, we could say that.
Mm.
And then we have the Greek and Roman celebrating their goddess. There's three different origin stories. Now, in honoring your parents, honoring your mother and your father, you do so daily.
So
But
sorry,
we
when you
just
say three different origin stories, they didn't all start at the same time.
But that's the origin of them. That's why I gave the
Okay.
example earlier
So
when you're saying
it's like
origin,
different
you
versions
it's
of.
but you cannot look at it like that. That's why I gave the scenario earlier with my idea and somebody else's idea. Just because somebody thought of it 20 something years ago, I knew nothing about it. The idea popped into my mind now, and I start this. This is the origin of my idea. Just because it came somebody did it, that's not part of my origin.
So it's like saying that
Then you
What
could
is-
have
you have,
different origins, and that's what I don't. That's the part I don't think you grasping.
so like saying, for instance, people follow the stars all around the world, and you have the Mayans, you have the people in Africa, you have what Plato, the Greeks, or those people that follow the stars. You can't just say, oh, this one is automatically following that one way of following the stars or of plotting the stars, because maybe each looked at the stars and plot their own track of the stars just at different time, and it's the same same sky they plotting, so they end up with the same diagram. Well, different diagram, but the same stars plot.
Or to make it more simple, remember that I think we had that conflict with the chicken, the whole chicken. For example, let's say Joel have a small oven that cannot hold a whole chicken. So he just cut his whole chicken in half. King Eze grew up seeing Joel cut his whole chicken in half, so they cutting the whole chicken in half. The same thing with the children. It become a generations. They cutting the whole chicken in half, even though now they have a big enough oven for them to fit the whole chicken in. 50 something years before Joel, there was some pagan holiday, and the people used to cut the whole chicken in half because of whatever worship to whatever god. You find that out now. As a them tradition that went down through generations, and they're backtracking and they're telling you, no, it's because my great grandfather Joel
Tradition.
used to cut his chicken, and it became a tradition throughout our family. You're going to tell them, no, because since so much years ago, they had before you, they already had this origin. This is where it really originated from, because these pagans, they used to cut their chicken in half.
When Joel
When Joel had no
was cutting
idea
the
of that,
chicken
he
in
used to
half
cut his chicken in
because
half
his
because
oven
his
was
are
small.
too small.
Yes. Debating the term holiday is reducing into semantics. The etymology of the word can't be used as a broad brush to paint all the way it's applied. Wow. So now celebrating Mother's Day automatically means that you support the population. Is that what we're saying?
Where
I
that
don't
come
know
from?
why he
Who
made
said that?
We didn't say that one. Depopulation. Maybe that one was a mic error.
Yeah, maybe
Well,
the
so
speech
no.
couldn't come through clear on the mic. But
No. What I'm saying is these inventions of these different days, and to have them within the church circles, are part of the church services. I don't see the necessity for these, because the Most High have placed the days that he wants us to observe already. They are laid down in the scriptures. And if these people were putting in these days, we're observing those as like when we get Purim, which is not in Leviticus 23, that's not in the Torah, but we still observe it. We get like the Feast of Dedication, it's not in the Torah. There's another one there also in the book of Maccabees of Jonas or something like that.
the rededication.
Yeah. And these things, they're not in Torah, but we see they're added after as
Part of the Hebrew
their-
culture.
Their culture.
Yes, but
Purim,
and
Purim is-
coming.
so it's not that we cannot add, what I'm saying is not that we cannot add anything to what was written. We can add another day.
But
Right.
that is what Leonard Jr. was also showing you, that coming back to present day, your culture now. You grew up in Jamaica, you have certain dates that you celebrate
Yes.
as part of your culture of Jamaica. You come to St. Martin, you also celebrate
St.
those
Martin's Day,
St.
yes.
Martin's Day, and 10 become St. Martin becoming a country within the kingdom. So these cultural dates are being celebrated, but you don't celebrate the carnival one because that
You
even though
could
they
see
want
why
it
it is wrong.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now adapt to now this culture now to say to acknowledge or to acknowledge the mothers within the society.
So Brother Paul,
Mhm.
is it okay? The second Sunday in May is Mother's Day.
Mhm.
We don't go church on Sundays. We observe the 7th-day Sabbath.
Mhm.
So we put the Sabbath before the Sunday as Mother's Day.
But nobody don't do that though.
Hmm?
Nobody don't put the
What-
changes Saturday into
Okay,
What
in
time?
previous.
What
Okay.
time does Sabbath keepers observe Mother's Day? They wait
s-
until it's Sunday, or
No, no,
Sunday.
you're
in chur-
talking about
Regular Sunday.
in church,
you're
in the
talking
church
about
service.
acknowledging the mothers within the
Acknowledging the
church.
mothers.
They acknowledge their mothers, but they don't say today is Mother's Day. They still know as tomorrow,
Tomorrow is
is
going to be
Mother's Day. They
Mother's
don't
Day.
say today is Mother's Day and change the Sabbath into Mother's Day.
Exactly.
So
But the mothers, they get their recognition on that Sabbath.
the same way,
Yeah.
for example, your birthday is 2 days ago. You come to church today. I recognize you on that Sabbath for your birthday. That was 2 days ago. I give you your gift on that Sabbath. It's not that I'm saying today is your birthday. I
Yeah.
see you
Okay.
then. You come now.
Okay.
A few years ago, my faith-based foundation started a tagline, I am gifted. Around the same time, a young local content creator started Gifted I Am to promote carnival and other vulgarities. Two promotional campaigns with very similar names, but completely different interests.
Intent.
Intent, yeah.
Mhm.
Because the day is not commanded does not make it wrong. What reason do we have now to outlaw Mother's Day with the population? The more important thing is to ensure that we honor parents
Exactly.
all year.
Exactly.
But Brother Ian made the depopulation comment. He said that the same people celebrating Mother's Day are the same ones supporting depopulation.
Population.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Um.
for me, because it's almost 10,
Yeah.
in closing, my last point that I am going to make is I do not see how, with all of the facts line up next to each other, I do not see how Mother's Day is in any way, shape, or form paganistic or the worship of any mother goddess. I do not see it. Any which way you try to look at it, I do not see it. Just because it is commercialized doesn't make it paganistic. Just because you do not see it as necessary because we have other biblical holidays that we can follow and celebrate does not make it paganistic. What makes something, you know, the core things that make something paganistic. And when you put Mother's Day and you look at it, what it is now, it doesn't tick off those boxes to make it paganistic. As I would say, is if something walk like a duck, it quack like a duck, then it is a duck. Mother's Day, don't.
What I'm saying is that the practice of worshiping mothers or highlighting mothers on a particular day, it's nothing new. We can go back as far back as to the wife of Nimrod that was being worshipped. And so from there, so we talk about the Greeks and Rhea, and we talk about the Romans with Cybele, that these examples were there before. So whatever we do now in reshaping or remodeling or repackaging, it doesn't change the fact of what was there before.
And it doesn't change the fact of where it actually came from and what it is now. And even when you were speaking, you said something very important that I would like to highlight, which is this word, worshiping and highlight. That are two different things. Mother's Day is highlighting your mother, showing appreciation for her. You're not worshiping her in any way, shape, or form. With those mother goddesses and all the other examples that you have been given, you can actually see where there is worship. It's not them highlighting them, it's them worshiping them. You have yet to show how you worship your mother on Mother's Day. How, if you say it goes back, it's not a new thing, you're not showing how those old practices is still here now for you to say, okay, that's not new, they used to do it before. You have yet to show that.
No, the problem is just to be putting this special day aside One day
But
out
there's
of the year.
special days, one day out of the year for
Why,
almost
why make this
everybody.
one day special for
But
mothers?
but
Give me a
you
good reason why
but
we need to just
But
have
look,
one day
all right.
special for
So
mothers.
so there's this day called 420, right? It's a special day.
Never hear of that one.
Okay. But these people, they smoke all year round. And then they have a day called 420, which is the day that they celebrate smoking.
First I hear that.
So what is the same thing they're doing all the time, but they're celebrating it on that day.
just that day. And again, and it has become commercialized because on those days, them coffee shops, the weed men.
But as I brought the recent study with the birthday celebration and the comparison, I showing you where we acknowledge that pagans celebrated birthdays and they have their practices and what they did in honoring their gods while celebrating their birthday, right? And we say that today we refrain from using their traditions. We don't use their traditions of celebrating birthdays to worship how they celebrate their gods or they worship their gods. But we celebrate one another, acknowledging life with one another and appreciating one another. So then the same thing coming back to the Mother's Day thing, where we have three different origin story, and we're saying that the oldest one is the pagan one. We heard the practices that they did in celebrating in the pagan culture, how they worship the god of the mother god.
Baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven. Yeah.
So we see how they celebrated the mother god and all the practices that they do, the mourning, the cake, the partying, everything, all of that. Now, we do not see any of that tradition in today's practice. The only thing is the season that it is done. That is the only thing that we see.
So
Come on.
A bit off because seasons have months. A season could have is made up of 3 months, some of them 4 months,
Yeah.
and it's not even falling on the same month that those worshiping.
Yeah, they were doing
month
it
used
in spring, the beginning of spring. So
Exactly.
the
They are
March,
not even in
April,
March.
they're doing
They
it.
used to fall in March.
They
They
doing it
don't even
March.
fall in March.
So they're doing it in March, April, June.
May is
But
still
we
spring.
but
Yeah,
Mother's
it's
Day is
spring,
in
but it's a
May.
whole different month. A whole different month.
So yeah, and the church own was the fourth Sunday of Lent, so that would have been in March as well. The church origin would have been in March. So that's why I say
So the church.
that's why I say the church one based on precedent, I can't rule out that it doesn't have anything linked with the pagans. So I can't rule it out based on precedent. But so seeing that they have the fourth Sunday of Lent, it's the same March, which is the same celebration, same month as the pagans.
Mhm.
The last origin story, and which is mostly celebrated now, is just honoring your mother while she's alive.
so like the customs now is like giving your mother a rose and
A
a
card.
card, maybe cooking for her, or bringing her out to dinner,
Yeah.
or they sell a lot of what are them things? The teddy bears and stuff,
Mm.
similar to Valentine's Day
Gifts.
gifts. Yeah.
Gifts.
That day, if you have older children, no, and on that day, if you have older children or you're married, in most households, that would be the day that, hey, mommy, you're not lifting a finger that day. That day is for you to rest. We're going to cook. We're going to clean.
And what you're saying, there's no other day for you to do all this for your mother?
But nobody's saying they don't do it on those other days. They do it on those other days, but it's just that day is recognized, and on that day, I will appreciate you and show and do it throughout the rest of the year. I am still honoring you. I will still take you out. I will still buy you gifts. I will heck on your birthday, you're going to get a gift. I
Yeah.
will still honor you. If you're a nurse on nurse, you're gonna get a gift. If my mother is a teacher on teachers, then you're getting a gift too. So there's so many other days in the year you will be honored. And even not on those special days, you will be honored. So those arguments, they're just
Honoring your parents, it's a everyday thing, not one day that
But
you put
just-
aside out of the year.
but nobody is saying you only honor your mother on that day. You honor your mother every day. However, there is just a special day where you put in the extra mile, or you just do the
Says
same
who?
thing.
Says who?
Says-
Who's based on who's in?
But that's the thing.
Who's
There are no
leading?
rules, and that's the thing. And that's why, again, you cannot say it's paganistic. When you're worshiping a god, there's set rules on how you worship that god. For Mother's Day, you celebrate Mother's Day how you want. You celebrate Mother's Day giving what gifts you want, whether you give a gift or not. It is up to you and how you feel. You should show your mother appreciation or how best she wants.
Who is leading and who is following in this?
But what do you mean who is leading and who is following?
So one other thing I was thinking about is like, how did Anna Jarvis become like famous? Like how how she get to have that impact to create a holiday that
Basically, she made a petition
Yeah, she campaigned. She was
to
going
government,
around doing those things.
and the president Woodrow Wilson made it official that this is a secular holiday that we're going to celebrate Mother's Day on the second Sunday of May. So she made a petition and it was granted by government. We have some comment, and because of- so canceling Mother's Day and Father's Day has great economic benefits. It's even better when it's your own parents doing the cancellation. Cancel birthdays next. Cancel graduations, housewarmings,
Quinceañera, cancel everything.
quinceañeras, etc. We honor God with every day we have life. Yet, those who celebrate birthdays do so with special recognition and thanksgiving on the anniversary of your birth.
And not only that, just know that just a quick thing, especially as believers, for example, right?
Mhm.
We're supposed to worship God every
Every
single
day.
day.
Every
Yeah.
day,
But however, we have our Sabbath
Yes.
set apart.
which
that
God
day.
set.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Just because he put the Sabbath, he didn't say no, because you have the Sabbath, no, the rest of the days you don't have to honor me.
No,
But we know every single day we're supposed to be honoring God.
yeah.
It's it's the same thing.
Sabbath is just the day that we rest from our work, so we have time to assemble.
No, but there's another part that actually calls for the assembly part. So it's not just that's the day we have time, so that's when we assemble. Because
No,
it calls for the
It
assembly
calls for
part.
the assembly.
Exactly. So don't make
So-
it seem like it's because we have time that day. That's when we
No,
assemble.
it-
Because that's what the
It
Sunday
is
believers
set
use.
for in the King James it read a holy convocation. They tell you
Exactly.
what to
We
use
set
it
up our
for.
gathering.
They set up a
Exactly.
gathering. They tell you what you should do on the Sabbath.
Exactly. So just because we have the Sabbath doesn't mean for the other rest of the days we're not supposed to be spending time in worship. We're not
No,
supposed to be.
It
we're
did
not
not
supposed to
say
be
remember
honoring
the
God.
Sabbath day to worship me. No, it didn't set the Sabbath worship. It said
To, and
remember
keep it
the-
holy.
Yes, to keep it
And
set
we're
apart.
yes, and
It didn't
when
say to
and
worship.
okay, and how do you keep submitted throughout to God in your daily life? What do you call it? Is it not being holy?
It's worship. every day. Your lifestyle is worship. The
And
way
okay,
you
and your
live.
lifestyle, is that not what you call holiness? The equivalent to holiness?
Yes, you live
Yeah.
a set apart life, different from the world. You
Exactly.
just
The
don't do the things that the
Exactly.
world do.
Exactly.
Doing the
And you're
things that is
but
pleasing to
what
God.
exactly, but you're proving my point. The same reasoning you have for the Sabbath, you cannot say just because you have the Sabbath to do these things on, to live that way, means it cancels out the other days. You already know as a believer, you're still supposed to be living your life in that manner from Monday to Sunday. So it's the same thing. You know, you honor your mother every single day of the year. However, there is this, I don't even want to call it set apart. There is just this special day that they
It's
have.
yeah, so
commercial day
having
that
a
they have.
special day
Whether
does
it's
not make
commercial
Yes,
it
or not,
commercial
celebrate,
day
make the
that
celebration
they
wrong.
have.
whether it's commercial or not doesn't matter, because they're so, because you could have biblical festivals, they will say it's commercial though. So
Yeah, and but
putting commercial on it does not negate the fact.
yeah, it's as okay. My conclusion is, it's interesting going through the research and everything and the discussion tonight. Seeing, I would acknowledge that there's three different origin story, even though the church origin, I think it might tie in with the pagan. There's no direct link to it, but precedent will suggest. And it's the worship of the goddess. If we identify how they worship the goddess and how they what practices they were doing, and we are not doing that, and we are acknowledging the mothers in life now, it makes sense to it, I don't see, based on this study, I would say it unrelated from the pagan practices.
But wasn't it started in the church? With Anna Jarvis?
No.
No,
Huh? His church.
Yeah, so Anna Jarvis kept the first
Is in a church.
Mother's Day
in church.
in church.
Okay.
The Sunday after the memorial of our mother. So the 9th of March, so the Sunday after.
It's in church that
Okay.
it started.
9th of May.
Although you find a lot of secular people who don't go to church celebrating, like Christmas, it's the birth. They said they're celebrating the birth of Jesus, but more worldly people take part in. They enjoy Christmas more than Christians,
But
the people in the world.
So
but
it's a
her
church
starting, but
service.
for me,
So
for something to be religious, the intention, it doesn't have to, the intention behind it has to be for it to have been religious. Her intention wasn't it for it to be a religious holiday. It was something for everybody, for all mothers, religious or not. It's the same way if, for example, if I have to start a holiday, just for example, and the holiday is not going to be a religious holiday. However, because I am a religious person, for example, I will try to introduce it in my church. You will see it happening there. If I have so much influence, then yeah, you will see it happening there. But if my intention, the intentionality behind it is not for it to be religious, that does not make it a religious just because, for example, you see it, the first time I launched was in the Adventist church.
Okay.
well,
Sister Lisa says Anna Jarvis starting the Mother's Day celebration in church. It's in line with the fifth commandment. Honor your parents, honor your mother and father. Talking about creating a holiday. Suppose May 31st, 2026. My favorite team win the double.
But you know that's Mother's Day on the front side. Eh?
We could power petition for a holiday.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the
we're just
English, the
saying
British.
that's okay. it started in the church, as you said, but it
And you have to
two
look at
different.
which church. It's about knowing who you're following. It started in the church. Which church? Is that a church that is leading
But it's a different
you?
month though, because the church already had something going on for fourth Sunday
Is
of
that-
Lent.
Is that a church that you want to follow what they institute?
But it's
But-
not the church that instituted.
She started something to honor her mother,
In her
and
church.
she petitioned to government to make it a national thing, and the president passed it. The president approved
I
it.
rest my case there. No.
So,
I-
so if there was a day to take care of the orphans, and they started it in the Catholic Church or Methodist Church or whichever church, Anglican Church, and that day goes and people say
They catch on with
set-
the
they
vision.
start adapting to it and start giving to children in the orphanage, make a pledge in that week you make, or that day you make a pledge how much money for the year you're going to send to the orphanage and these type of stuff.
Outside of the traditional holidays.
Yeah, but it's that day started in church. Would that be a bad day to follow?
do good any day, even on the Sabbath. Yahusha teach it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. So you can do your good any day. Right? What I'm saying is when we're going to follow something, we should look at who is leading, why, what is the motive behind it, and know whether or not you as a believer should be following that individual.
For me, we did look at the motive behind it and saying, look at who is leading. Just because she was a Catholic,
No, Methodist.
she was
Method-
Methodist. Oh, but then you was trying. Okay, never mind. So even better. But either way, just because she was
Catholic, Methodist, all-
either
all
way,
the
she
same-
was just because she
same
was a Methodist.
creed that they follow.
They have some differences.
Yeah, but they
Better-
all
much-
recite the same
much-
Apostles'
much
Creed and
better
pledge allegiance to the
differences.
Catholic Church.
So, but either way, just because she is a Methodist, my thing is, it doesn't matter what somebody
Methodist.
denomination is. If it is something good, then at the end of the day, it is something good.
Denomination or religion.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the denomination is or the
No,
religion.
or religion. Yeah,
Or the
correct.
religion, yeah, because yeah, or religion, that is not something for you to say, okay, you look at the motive behind it. The motive is not bad. The motive does not seem ritualistic.
And
The
they're not
motive does not
giving,
seem it doesn't line up with any of those pagan holidays.
and they're
for you
not
to say-
worshiping any other gods.
Exactly, for you to say, oh, but she's a Methodist. No.
Joy keeps saying even religion, no matter
Yeah,
the
even
religion.
religion, because if it was an
Because-
atheist, for example, who
No,
come
but
up to
the
it,
you see, the Indians, the Hindus might have some things where they give.
But it's in worship of their God.
Yes,
So that's why I add on the part. As long as it's not in worship of another God.
Yeah.
So yes, people can come up with good initiative, good ideas for us as a human body, right? But as we say, we stay spiritual beings as well. So as long as these practices and traditions that being created is not in the word to worship another God, but to worship Yahuwah, then or to acknowledge one another, then it's a good initiative. We celebrate as Glenn Jr. was pointing out, all the stuff that we celebrate, accomplishments. When we graduate high school, you graduate college, you married, you celebrate the anniversary, you celebrate different things all year round. What's the origin story for celebrating?
Hmm?
What time we going to stop?
Okay, let's read the comments and then we get closer.
What is wrong will be
Only give honor.
to only give honor to mothers
mothers.
on that day for the entire year. If a mother is honored throughout the year, Mother's Day celebration is less relevant. Answer the question, sir. Which question? Good question or Joel's question? If World Orphans Day is founded in the Catholic Church, would we denounce the charitable benefits to the orphans? That was the question that
I would
Joel
find
asked.
another day to do it other than their day. Well, right now, if we know whoever is in need, we reach out to them. We don't have to depend on. And the Bible clearly state that we should take care of widows and orphans.
Yeah, but the
my
question is,
would it be
if there was a
wrong if
day set
somebody's on
apart
that day?
for
Exactly.
that by the Catholic Church, would you support such initiative?
No,
That's
but it's not that the Catholic Church set it apart. They started it, and then it grew, and it got adopted. And let's say they make it a thing, and they adopt it, and they say, okay, this day is World
Orphanage
Orphanage
Day.
Day, and you know that day you
Those
donate.
budgets.
Exactly. So it started in the Catholic Church, but they were not the one who made it a mandatory something. It grew and it evolved. It got adopted.
Mhm.
So no, like you're saying, you would not give on that day, you'd give another day. But somebody who is a believer giving on that day, does it make it wrong?
If someone
What-
hears the gospel through another denomination, that does not make the introduction to godly worship null and void. Let us not throw out the babies with the bathwater, and let us not substitute honoring parents throughout the year for celebrating on the day.
Exactly what I'm saying. Do not neglect your parents or your mother throughout the year and waiting for this special day.
But
But let it be a continuous thing, as the Bible says. Honor your father and your mother,
but the
that your
question-
days may be long upon the land. Right? That
Mhm.
is a command that we have to carry, not waiting for a special day to commercialize for us to be joining in with this group of people to honor our parents,
but
our mothers,
Okay.
our fathers.
Yep.
yeah, and we agree, and I think we have been driving that point. But the question for somebody who's listening, who probably trying to figure out what they should do, is not whether the question is not whether you should wait for Mother's Day to honor your mother. It's should you honor or should you celebrate the day?
Mother's Day.
Because the statement you just made and what Sister Lisa says not something we have refuted. We have been saying so. Yes, the question is not should you wait to honor on that day, is whether you should be participating in it.
Right. So if you don't wait for that day, then actually you don't really need a day, because
Alright.
you've been doing it all along.
But that still
Okay.
doesn't answer the question as to whether it's wrong or not.
The wrong part of it, like I say, is where we look at the origins.
Okay, so we have given a few points, and okay, we're gonna read the last comment and then we're gonna close out. Does that make participating in a special day with a homemade gift wrong? No. One does not cancel the other. Today, I spent the day with some seniors while volunteering with SSM Dude. I have no clue how dude started. I gotta go do some research. Then, on that premise, you would not celebrate birthdays. Well, what you just said, on that premise, you would not celebrate birthdays because of your origin.
If you waited.
So if I honor my mother all year round and then I can do something special on Mother's Day. Go, okay, thank you. Yes, so with this program, this YouTube video that people gonna watch in the future and hear all the points that we make about the three different origin stories and the pagan origin and the practices, everything. So you can do further research for yourself and draw your conclusion. But yes, it's a lot. So just want to say thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments. Leonard Jr., everybody that tuned in tonight and give their comment. Lisa, Devon, shout out. All those who came online tonight. Thank you, Gigi, everyone. Brother Ian.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you all for tuning in and
Miss Jen.
contributing to the conversation. Miss Jen wants her birthday. Yes. Thank you for contributing to the
Sister Bella.
conversation. Yes, Sister Bella was also there. So just want to tune out. This has been the Truth Seekers presented by Hallelujah Ambassadors. You can join us in worship on Sabbath from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Number 6080 Illich Road. Shabbat Shalom. Good night.
Good night. Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.